Hi guys. Basically, I'm going to give you all a basic summary of the leftist movement of Sri Lanka. So the leftist movement of Sri Lanka was started by a radical youth group, which is technically speaking the younger generation of the elite class. So as you guys know, under Colebrook reforms, locals were allowed to have English education. So the locals got the English education and they went to foreign countries for higher education. So these radical youth group, basically these people went to these European countries and they learned Marxism and socialism and all these leftist concepts. So people like N.M. Pereira, Colvin R. De Silva, Philip Gunawardena and Dr. S.A. Wickramasinghe wanted to start a leftist movement in Sri Lanka. This was in like early 1920s. So by this time, Sri Lankan citizens were suffering from malaria in certain areas like in Avisavela, Ruwanwala, Kagawala, in these areas. And the English rulers and the representatives, that local representatives that were in the legislative council, none of these people actually cared, and nobody was bothered to take care of the Sri Lankans who were suffering from malaria. Meanwhile, the British government was interested in selling poppy flowers in order to support the war victims and the war widows and the wounded soldiers of the British Army following the First World War by this time. So this radical youth group, N.M. Pereira and those people, they were like, you know what, that we need to start a movement to find funds to support the Sri Lankan population who are suffering from malaria. And so as a counter movement for the poppy flower movement, they started the Surya flower movement, sunflower movement, like, or also you can call it Surya Mal movement. So basically they started this movement to find to raise funds to support the people who were suffering from malaria in these areas. So because of this work these leftist leaders did, they gained so much popularity in these areas like Avisavela, Ruwanwala and these areas. So a small example for this, Philip Gunawardena, who ran this campaign in Avisavela in like 1920s, up to date the Gunawardena surname is so popular in Avisavela. Up to date, it's Philip Gunawardena's son Dinesh Gunawardena who gets a lot of votes from Avisavela. After nearly 100 years, his legacy is still there. So you can imagine how influential that was. So that's how the Suryamal movement started, and that was the beginning of the Sri Lankan leftist movement. So by 1935, under Donoughmore reforms, after Sri Lanka received universal franchise, when Sri Lanka was getting ready to have the second state council election in 1935, these leftist leaders were like, you know what, maybe we need to form a political party to face the state council election in a better manner. Now, keep in mind, this by this time political parties wasn't a thing in Sri Lanka, so it wasn't necessary to form a political party to face the state council election. So however, these guys were like, you know what, let's have a political party anyways. Okay. So following that, they formed the Lanka Samasamaja Party in 1935, which is the first official political party in Sri Lanka. This is excluding the Labour Party of A. Gunasinghe, which is not exactly a political party. Okay, so Lanka Samasamaja Party was the first political party of Sri Lanka in 1935, and the frontline leaders who formed this party was N.M. Pereira, Colvin R. De Silva, Philip Gunawardena and Dr. S.A. Wickramasinghe. So in 1943, the party sort of went through a split. because of the Stalin and Trotsky conflict. Now, in the Soviet Union was the communist hub in the world that was sort of leading all the communist parties and communist countries in the world. And in the Soviet Union, following V.I. Lenin's death, Joseph Stalin took over as the reign over the deserving person, who was Leon Trotsky. Now, Trotsky was the original theorist for Lenin's government. So the Soviet Union was following Trotsky's theories, whereas once Stalin came to power, he completely changed all the policies followed by the Soviet Union. Now, an example, Trotsky's ideology based on agriculture, whereas Stalin changed everything from agriculture to industrial economy. He established industry. So it's just one example. So basically Stalin changed everything. Whereas the Lanka Samasamaja Party was sort of like confused whether to update with Stalin's policies or whether to stick to Trotsky's policies. And their final decision was to update with the Soviet Union and embrace Stalin's policies. Whereas one of the Samasamaja leaders, who was Dr. S.A. Wickramasinghe, did not like this idea, and his opinion was that the Samasamaja Party should stick with Trotsky's theories, because that's the original socialist theory, original communist theory, right? So now that the Samasamaja Party decided to update to Stalin's theories, Dr. S.A. Wickramasinghe and all his followers who were original Trotsky followers decided to leave the Samasamaja Party in order to form the Communist Party of Ceylon in 1943. Meanwhile, now since the Lanka Samasamaja Party intended to gain full independence from Sri Lanka, unlike the Ceylon National Congress, which was the leading organization in the national movement of Sri Lanka, which expected to get a dominion status, not full independence, Samasamaja Party was different. They wanted full independence from the British throne and establish a socialist communist system in Sri Lanka. Now, because of that, the British government decided to ban the Samasamaja Party, and they arrested all the Samasamaja leaders. This included N.M. Perera, Colvin R. De Silva, Philip Gunawardena, and Philip Gunawardana's wife Vivian Gunawardena. Now, these people escaped prison, and they escaped to India. Whereas in India that they joined the Indian freedom fight, and they were involved in the Indian national movement. Whereas these people were arrested alongside some other Indian freedom fighters, and the British rulers in India decided to send these people back to Sri Lanka, more like back to Ceylon. So by this time the Samasamaja ban was lifted, and they were allowed to get involved in politics again. However, these Colvin, N.M. and Philip Gunawardena, who went to India together as friends, by the time they returned, a split had happened somewhere. It's not known when did that happen, but Philip Gunawardena was in split with N.M. and Colvin, whereas Philip had formed his own party called the Bolshevik Samasamaja Party, whereas in politics he used the name Revolutionary Samasamaja Party. Where just he had a problem with picking a name, he went back and forth from Bolshevik Samasamaja Party to Revolutionary Samasamaja Party. So we can see by the time the first election of Sri Lanka in 1947 under Solberry, we had three leftist parties in the equation: Lanka Samasamaja Party, which has N.M. Perera and Colvin R. De Silva, and the Communist Party of Ceylon, which is led by Dr. S.A. Wickramasinghe, and the Bolshevik Samasamaja Party, or if not the Revolutionary Samasamaja Party, which is led by Philip Gunawardena. So in the very first election of Sri Lanka in 1947, political parties wasn't really a thing. Meanwhile, the UNP was in existence. Ceylon National Congress had turned into UNP overnight, and it was mainly a competition between UNP and the leftist parties, these three leftist parties. So it turned out to be UNP managed to get the most number of seats, but they did not have a majority. Other than UNP, the second highest was the independent candidates, whereas leftist parties had an opportunity to get together and get into an alliance or a coalition with the independent candidates and form the first government of Sri Lanka. They actually had that chance. If they actually managed to pull it off, that the first government of Sri Lanka under the Dominion status would have been a leftist government. However, that didn't really go well. Whereas the independent candidates, most of them decided to support UNP, whereas UNP formed the very first government of Sri Lanka under the leadership of D.S. Senanayake, who was the first Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, since the Sama Samaj Party, Lanka Sama Samaj Party had the second highest number of votes in the opposition, second highest number of seats in the opposition, they were known as the official opposition, whereas the first opposition leader of Sri Lanka was Mr. N.M. Perera. So meanwhile, in 1951, you guys know that SWRD Bandaranaike, who was a member of the UNP, walked out of the party with his supporters and formed the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. And Bandaranaike had realized by that time, without the support of another party, without a coalition, it's impossible to form a government. Whereas he invited the leftist leaders to join with him, and that invitation was taken by one particular leader, who was Philip Gunawardena, whereas his Bolshevik or Revolutionary Sama Samaj Party went into a coalition with SLFP, and that alliance was known as Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, MEP. Whereas in 1956, Mahajana Eksat Peramuna managed to win the election, whereas SWRD Bandaranaike became the Prime Minister. Now this alliance existed until 1959, till Bandaranaike's death. After Bandaranaike's death, his wife took over, Sirima Bandaranaike, and she continued working as Sri Lanka Freedom Party, and she deviated from the name Mahajana Eksat Peramuna. Whereas Philip Gunawardena kept that name Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, and up to date that party exists as Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, currently led by Philip Gunawardena's son Dinesh Gunawardena. So in 1964, something important happened in terms of the leftist movement of Sri Lanka, which is the birth of the new left. This happened with a split that occurred in the Communist Party of Ceylon. So in 1964, the Communist Party was sort of facing confusion because the Soviet Union and China were having a dispute over Mongolia. So the Communist Party decided to support Russia. However, another group of the Communist Party members, who call themselves the Communist Party of Ceylon as well, claim their support to China, whereas the newspapers referred to this group as the Chinese group, the Chinese wing, and the other group as the Russian group or the Russian wing. Turned out to be the Russian wing was the official Communist Party, and that Chinese group of the Communist Party did not stay together. The members who were there in that group broke into several their own leftist movements. Most notably, one of the members was Rohana Vijayveera, who formed Janata Vimukti Peramuna, JVP, as in 1967. Alright, so this new left was the Chinese group of the Communist Party is considered as the origin of the new left in Sri Lanka. Alright, so most notable in the new left, the most notable group was Janata Vimukti Peramuna, formed by Rohana Vijayveera, who had a different ideology compared to other leftist parties, as he said that he wants to go the original way Karl Marx suggested, which is an armed revolution. So instead of entering into democratic politics and competing elections, they decided to go with an armed revolution as Karl Marx originally suggested. So 1970s was an important time for the leftist movement in Sri Lanka because two important things happened. One was in 1970, the old leftist parties, two of the old leftist parties, the Sama Samaj Party and the Communist Party, entered into an alliance with SLFP again, this time under the name United Front Government and under the leadership of Sirima Bandaranaike. Whereas they won the election, they got a 2/3 majority, and they brought in the first local constitution of Sri Lanka in 1972, the first Republican constitution. Under this constitution, the government basically attempted to turn Sri Lanka into a socialist oriented economy, whereas they introduced the policies of closed economy and all that. And due to the certain weaknesses of the implementation of this economic policy, poverty and stuff went ahead, and there were food shortages and stuff, whereas people weren't really fond of the theory because of these difficulties. Meanwhile, in 1971, the new left, JVP, attempted an armed revolution, and they attempted to gain the power of Sri Lanka through an insurrection. However, comparing to their second insurrection in 88-89, and given the fact that it was an island-wide armed revolution, the death count and the destruction caused was very minor. Alright, so however, it was unsuccessful due to several weaknesses, and JVP leaders were arrested, including Rohana Vijayveera. Meanwhile, the government was attempting to turn Sri Lanka into the leftist stream because of the influence of the Samasamaj Party and the Communist Party, and it was not successful, as in the 1977 general election, the classic leftist parties faced a huge defeat, where the parties were basically dropped down to 0 seats in the legislature. Samasamaj Party went down to 0, Communist Party of Ceylon went down to 0 seats in the legislature. That was the same election. UNP managed to gain a 5-6 majority in the parliament, whereas they brought in the 1978 Second Republican Constitution. Once J.R. Jayawardena came to power, he decided to release Rohana Vijayveera from prison, and JVP decided to enter democratic politics yet again. Meanwhile, in the late 1970s, two young Samasamaj Party leaders decided to leave the Lanka Samasamaj Party to form a party called Nava Samasamaj Party. These two names are Vasudeva Nanayakkara and Vikramabahu Karunaratne. Right? So these guys are also considered as the new left people. So in the 1982, the first presidential election of Sri Lanka, there were 6 candidates. Out of that 6, 3 of them were leftist. So basically you had the sitting president J.R. Jayawardena running from UNP, Hector Kobbayakadu was running from Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Kumar Ponnambalam was running from the Tamil Party, whereas Rohana Vijayveera was running from JVP, Kolvina De Silva was running from the Samasamaj Party, and Vasudeva Nanayakkara was running from the Nava Samasamaj Party. Alright, so however, the leftist parties and the leftist movement in Sri Lanka took a big toll in the late 1980s due to the heavy political violence, whereas some of the new leftist leaders were accused of instigating the Black July, and following that JVP decided to stand again through another insurrection, and this time the revolution was much more violent and severe. Similarly, the control method applied by the government was also equally violent, which resulted in plenty of deaths in the country. Meanwhile, the old leftist people from the Samasamaj Party and the Communist Party and them were targeted by the JVP members because that they supported the Indo-Lanka agreement, and the JVP members were targeted by the government army for being a part of the insurrection, which means that plenty of leftist followers died during this time. So when 1990s came, in 1994, JVP decided to enter into democratic politics again. So by this time, the old leftist parties, basically the Lanka Samasamaj Party, the Communist Party of Ceylon, by this time it's Communist Party of Sri Lanka, and Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, and also there was another party called the Sri Lanka Mahajana Party, created by Chandrika Bandanaga's husband Vijay Kumar Tunga, that actor. That was also a leftist party. So these were the classic old leftist parties. They were in the alliance. They were in an alliance with Chandrika Bandanaga's SLFP by 1994. Meanwhile, JVP, the new left party, decided to enter into democratic politics again. So in the first parliament, in the parliament election of 1994, JVP managed to get one seat, whereas the all leftist parties remained in SLFP's alliance, whereas they had no survival outside. They became nominal parties in the political party system. However, JVP seemed to show a rapid growth and a very reasonable development, that the one seat they secured in 1994 was developed to 7 seats or 9 seats, one of the two, 7 or 9 seats, 7, 9, or 9 seats I think in the 2000 election, which were increased to 15 or 16 seats in 2001. So within like 7 years, the one seat went up to 15, 16, but this is by contesting alone. However, in 2001, Sri Lanka had a cohabitation government where Chandrika Bandaranaike was the president and Ranil Wickremesinghe was the prime minister. And 2 years into Ranil Wickremesinghe's government, his popularity was sort of like declining because of his controversial decisions, whereas at that time SLFP was not capable enough to topple Ranil Wickremesinghe's government, whereas JVP agreed to join into a coalition with SLFP, which they did. They entered into an alliance under the name United People's Freedom Alliance in 2004, where SLFP and JVP contested together. However, the notable thing is JVP managed to secure 41 seats in that election because they contested together with SLFP, whereas they were in a position to give away 2 seats to SLFP, and they were okay with having 39 seats. And in 2005, however, after forming that government in 2004, they did not remain in the government for so long because there was this one policy called the Tsunami Relief Board, which was controversial, and JVP decided to walk out of the government because of that. And meanwhile, the 2005 presidential election was declared, where Ranil Wickremesinghe and Mahinda Rajapaksa were running against each other. And JVP, despite being in the opposition, they decided to support back then the sitting Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, and they entered into an alliance with Mahinda Rajapaksa as well. Meanwhile, in 2008, a part of JVP, which was supported by one of their mainstream leaders, Vimal Veeravansha, decided to walk out of JVP due to an internal split, and Vimal and his wing ideally supported Mahinda Rajapaksa and his government. And by this time, Mahinda Rajapaksa's government was successfully concluding the war, and during the peak years of the war, Mahinda Rajapaksa's popularity was like reasonably increased, whereas he was sweeping and winning all the elections. And during this time, JVP was suffering election defeats quite severely, which was not bad as the 1977 defeat faced by all leftist parties. It wasn't that bad, but it was reasonably bad, and JVP lost a reasonable percentage of their vote base during this time. So in 2010, JVP decided to enter into another alliance to support the common candidate Sarath Fonseka, and they entered into the same alliance with UNP. So UNP and JVP supported Sarath Fonseka in 2010. And following his defeat, JVP further lost their vote base, and in 2011, another group inside JVP called the Frontline Socialist Party decided to walk out of JVP, saying that JVP is not following proper socialism anymore. So in conclusion, by today we can see that the classic left, all left, has completely turned nominal, whereas they have no capacity to contest separately, independently, whereas their existence is limited to being in an alliance with SLFP, or basically the pro-Rajapaksa political camp. So when we analyze the all left, we can see the main reason behind their failure is like 4 reasons. Number one is too many internal splits. Secondly, entering into alliances with capitalistic parties. Thirdly, the heavy election defeat in 1977, which they never recovered from, and also the heavy political violence that they faced in the late 1980s. So because of that, they have turned completely nominal. Meanwhile, you can see that New Left, JVP, the New Left has also failed to live up to their expectation due to several reasons. Now, they haven't gone nominal like the old left, but given the fact that they were so promising and they were showing so much development and growth in the late 90s and early 2000s, the fact that they have dropped down to 3 seats in the current parliament is quite disappointing. And when you look at the failure, you can say the reasons behind the declining power of the New Left, JVP, is also quite similar and parallel to the reasons behind the failure of the old left as well. So basically, JVP also entered into capitalistic alliances in 2004 with Chandrika Bandaranaike, 2005 with Mahinda Rajapaksa, 2010 with Sarath Fonseca. Also, they also had internal splits, whereas in 2008, Wimala Wirawansa walked out and formed the National Freedom Front. 2011, the Frontline Socialist Party walked out. So internal splits, and also from 2000s, during the 2007, 8, 9, that period, when Mahinda Rajapaksa was sweeping and winning elections, the election defeats JVP faced back then, they haven't properly fully recovered from those as well. So we can conclude by saying the old left has completely turned into nominal forces back by now, whereas the new left has also failed to live up to the expectations as they were so promising at one point. And when we analyze and compare the reasons, we can see those reasons are quite similar and parallel to one another. So that's the leftist movement of Sri Lanka.